If you don't know these mods, you don't know what it means to play realistically and literally simulate farming. Let's start with a mod that everyone who has tried to play realistically knows. And if you don't know it, sit back, because this is just the warm-up and you have a lot to catch up on. This modification aims to make our soil more realistic so we can feel a hint of 3D soil, something every true fan of the Farming Simulator series dreams of. My heart believes that the upcoming installment will fulfill our deepest dreams, but my mind tells me that we'll have to wait a bit longer for soil physics. However, instead of just dreaming, the creator of this mod decided to take action. Driven by this irresistible need, he sought ways to get closer to what we dream of. And finally, here it is, one mod that changes everything. This mod makes tires behave completely differently depending on their type. It may sound trivial as if taken straight from the manual of every simulator, but it took quite a modification to achieve this. Now when we enter the game, we feel it. Every kick of the soil feels more authentic, more professional. At last we can feel the earth under the wheels and even get stuck in it, fully utilizing the current game engine's capabilities. This is just the beginning. Who knows what the future holds? But now, even with just this mod, we are fulfilling the wet dreams of every fan of this game. On the farm, life isn't just about work. It's also the story of every bale that gets created. Now, thanks to this modification, this story becomes even more interesting. When the round baler finishes forming another bale, a small but significant event begins. The mechanisms work at full speed and the net wraps carefully around the bale as if protecting its contents from the elements. It's as if each bale receives its protective layer, ready for the next part of its journey. In Farming Simulator, this modification adds even more realism to the daily work on the farm. With the new HUD interface, you can monitor the netting level, and the new pallet with rolls of netting becomes an essential part of your equipment, allowing you to replenish supplies while working. This isn't just a modification, it's a new element that adds depth to your game. Each bale becomes not just a product of your labor, but also a testament to the care you put into your farm. On a real field, every movement leaves a trace. When the plow digs into the soil, the cultivator breaks up the ground, and the combine harvests the crops. The dust rising into the air adds another layer of realism. By increasing the amount of dust with this mod, we get even closer to the experience of working in a real field while staying in front of a computer screen. Now, every tool that works in the field will leave a cloud of dust behind, from plows and cultivators to combines and tractors. Even the tractor wheels kick up more dust. The production of dust depends on the time since the last rain or snowfall. The longer it's been dry, the more dust rises into the air, creating realistic conditions. With full customization, you can adjust the scale of effects to your preferences. Every task in the field becomes more realistic, adding even more depth and realism to the virtual farming experience. A real farmer cares for their animals just like family members, sometimes even more so, because they know that happy animals mean a full wallet. In Farming Simulator, the player doesn't have to form such bonds because the game lacks some realism, but we can improve this by adding this modification. It introduces realistic risks associated with animal care. Your animals can disappear in 3 scenarios. When they get old, a small chance, but it's better to sell older animals. When their health drops below 25% for several hours, or when their troughs are empty for several hours. The highest risk. With this mod, it's worth caring for your animals every day, just like a real farm. Now your duties in the game will take on new significance, forcing you to regularly feed and care for your animals' health to prevent their mysterious disappearance. On a real farm, every task requires commitment. Connecting machines and tools is a daily routine that demands both skill and strength. To bring this into the game, we need a modification that introduces realistic management of tools and trailers. Instead of a simple click, you now have to manually connect and disconnect tools. To attach and detach equipment, you need to exit the vehicle, just like on a real farm. Without properly connected hydraulic hoses, lights and brakes, they won't function. Thanks to this modification, the game becomes even more authentic, requiring players to think and act like real farmers. Every task gains significance, allowing you to get even closer to the life of a farmer in such a simple way. On small farms, the barn is a true multitasker. It serves as a storage for bales, a silo, and sometimes even a parking spot for machines and tractors. Imagine needing to retrieve something from there. there. It often requires some clever thinking, especially when it comes to moving those heavy bales. The same goes for Farming Simulator, where managing the barn can be just as complicated. Fortunately, a modification comes to the rescue. With this mod, you can now move bales manually, allowing for precise placement in spots that are hard to reach with a tractor. Thanks to this modification, the game becomes even more authentic, requiring players to think and act like real farmers. Every task gains significance, allowing you to get even closer to the life of a farmer in such a simple way. A real farmer knows that cows should be milked regularly at least twice a day, with no more than 12 hours between. A typical player doesn't have to worry about milking, as in the game, cows are connected to an invisible pipe that constantly drains the milk into a tank. However, if you want to add some realism to your game, this modification is for you. With it, cows are milked regularly, every 12 hours, precisely at 6 AM and 6 PM. The milk tank is filled only at these times, requiring the player to take a more systematic approach to herd management. Now, like a real farmer, you'll have to keep an eye on the time and regularly care for your cows to ensure continuous and efficient milk production. Modern tractors are filled to the brim with electronics and buttons, making even the most experienced farmers concentrate to navigate through this labyrinth of technology. However, to truly get to the essence of this farming experience and feel an authentic connection with our vehicle, we need a modification that brings some of these buttons to life. Personally, I believe this feature should be a standard in every simulator. Clickable icons that appear after activating this mod encourage us to explore new features of our machines. We can also assign keys to react even faster to changes. But what really set this mod apart from other? It's the ability to interactively control many aspects of our vehicles. We can play animations such as opening and closing windows or folding and unfolding warning signs. We can also trigger specific functions like starting and stopping the engine, turning tools on and off, or raising and lowering hitch elements. Furthermore, we can make changes to objects such as translation, rotation, or visibility. Thanks to this, it's a key element that allows us to feel like real farmers, establish a connection with our machines, and discover the endless possibilities of modern agriculture. In everyday life, we don't have the opportunity to see ourselves or our vehicle from a third-person perspective, as is possible in a game. Additionally, the mirrors in the game work quite poorly, so we are somewhat forced to use the third-person view to, for example, unload grain from a combine or reverse under a machine. However, there is a solution to this problem. It's another brilliant modification that should be added to the base version of the game. Thanks to it, my gaming experience has jumped several levels higher. Now I can play in first-person mode all the time, without the need for frequent camera switching, which was necessary before. Imagine you're heading to the local tractor dealership. The salesperson guides you to the model you're interested in. You open the door, step inside, and are greeted by the smell of fresh upholstery. You can inspect the interior closely, check how everything works, and even hear the engine roar as you turn the key. Thanks to this modification, you can now have such an experience in your favorite farming game as well. In the configuration shop, with just one click, you switch to the inside view camera. It's as if from behind your computer screen, you're instantly transported into the cabin of the latest tractor model. You can look around and examine every detail, but that's not all. You also have the option to start the engine and hear how it sounds. Is it a deep, low rumble reminding you of the machine's powerful capabilities, or perhaps a gentle hum, perfect for serene work in the field? This isn't just a regular feature. It's a true experience that makes you feel like you're in a real tractor dealership. Every detail, every sound, it's all at your fingertips. With this modification, the game becomes even more realistic, and we can enjoy it on a whole new level.